A lecture on the fairy tale Cannetella, retold by Andrew Lang. Cannetella is a fairy tale. In this instance, a Scottish academic and author made a name for himself researching and retelling myths, folktales, and fairy tales. Andrew Lang retells the story of a stubborn king and an equally stubborn princess. As with many fairy tales, this story is full of archetypes and has a plot which is simple to follow. However, it takes some turns, which I would argue play to the early modernist era. We can't say for certain Lang's intention in choosing this piece. It is archetypal, with the repetition of the number 7, a numeric symbol often associated with magic and the supernatural. There is a shining kingdom on a hill, a childless couple yearning for a child, an evil magician, a gorgeous princess, and even a line of princes. But that is where the story veers off. This princess doesn't want to encumber, the word from the original tale, herself with a husband. This is a tale originally from 17th century Italy, and the idea of being burdened with marriage was a popular plot in Italian stories, though not so much in English ones. Her father demands she marry and give him an heir. So, after waving off several men for superficial reasons, Cannetella finally makes a request she thinks will be impossible to fulfill. She says she will only marry a man with a head of gold, as in the metal. It's clear from diction and tone that she wants to please her father, but she really doesn't want to marry. Then the evil sorcerer pops up. Siriavanti hates the king, so I guess the idea of torturing his enemy's daughter makes him happy? Cannetella rues the day she didn't just marry an empty headed pretty boy when she is left to starve for over a year in a stable where the horses talk, but only to tattle when she sneaks out to eat some fruit. Did Lang choose this tale because a woman refused to obey her father, marry, and produce offspring like he felt she should? Or did Lang want readers to think about how maybe that expectation wasn't fair anymore? I mean, the suffragist movement was in full swing when this came out. Did Lang choose it because there's an allusion here to Eve and the forbidden fruit? Though Cannetella eats grapes and oranges and not apples? I mean, grapes are associated with wine, and oranges were an exotic yet staple fruit because of the vitamin C, which sailors in particular ate to ward off scurvy. Did Lang choose this piece because it shows a father who loves his daughter, but lets her leave forever with this stranger because he doesn't recognize him as the evil magician in this hard-headed demand that she marry anyone? Siriavanti is abusing Cannetella too, but his enemy, her father, doesn't even know, so how's that helpful to him? I don't know what that's about. Eventually, a man Cannetella knows from her home city comes by the stable and she begs him to smuggle her back home in a barrel. Again, a wine connection, maybe? Siriavanti tries to put the palace to sleep, Sleeping Beauty, anyone, to get Cannetella back. But Siriavanti ends up captured and killed. Cannetella and her father, because we totally lost the queen in this story, are overjoyed to be back together and both regret their stubbornness. Because that is the theme, no matter how we look at it, stubbornness. Even though the last line of the story is about getting caught in a trap you set for someone else. Cannetella, the king, and Siriavanti are all stubborn, and bad things happen because of that. So, why deal with this story at all? Because I believe all these questions are worth it and make for more active reading. Plus, no matter what Lang thought about, as he chose this piece for his famous English fairy tale books, it's how we feel about it today. This is an excellent example of literature that does multiple things. Three in this case. It allows students to break apart fairy tale archetypes in the traditional manner. It has that obvious lesson at the end with a clear theme that is as irrelevant today as it was in the 1600s in the original Italian version and the end of the 1800s, beginning of the 1900s in this version, which is, of course, not being too stubborn. And it lets modern readers interpret the deeper meanings with today's sensibilities because solid literature interpretation is crafted by an author, sure, but it is in the grasp of the reader, literally, especially when that author is dead. Cannetella sees marriage as bondage and then is literally imprisoned. Talking animals usually help a princess out. These betray her. Siriavante is her nightmare of marriage come true. And her father, the man who supposedly loved her beyond all reason, wouldn't listen to her and handed her off to a stranger. Her mother, just like so many mothers from old stories, is silenced. She loses her voice just like Lancelot's wife did and like King Arthur's mother did. The wife of Bath was right. Women just want sovereignty over themselves. So, is this theme today when we read this story? Is that what we're supposed to get out of it? But admittedly, Cannetella does say she wished she had listened to her father. So is that still the theme? Both seem equally contrite at the end, and Siriavante gets what he deserves. Maybe it's just about listening to your loved ones and not having this idea of how things must or should be. In any case, it's a fun debate. Let me know what you think in the comments. This has been a production of Kendrick Curriculum by Lisa M. Kendrick. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thanks for listening.